The sun hung low in the sky, painting the clouds with shades of orange and pink, when Liam decided to take a walk outside the town. He liked to explore places that others ignored, searching for inspiration for his inventions. On this particular evening, his feet carried him toward the outskirts, past fields of tall grass and overgrown paths. That's when he saw it, a forgotten amusement park, silent and still, almost like a secret waiting to be discovered. The entrance gate hung crookedly on its hinges, and the paint was faded, but Liam felt an unusual pull. He stepped closer, his curiosity rising. Everywhere he looked, nature had slowly taken over. Weeds had grown through cracks in the pavement, and vines curled around rusted signs. But in the middle of it all stood a Ferris wheel, towering and majestic even in its decay. Its metal frame was streaked with rust, and many of the seats hung crooked, swaying slightly in the evening breeze. Yet, to Liam, it looked beautiful, like a memory frozen in time. He crouched down to examine the base, brushing his fingers over the rough metal. He imagined how it must have turned when children and families laughed on it. A smile crept across his face. "I wonder if it could work again," he whispered to himself, his mind already racing with ideas. He pulled out a small notebook from his bag and began sketching, noting how the gears might move and how he could repair the broken sections. Just then, a soft voice spoke behind him. "You really think you can fix it?" Liam jumped slightly and turned to see a young woman standing at the edge of the path. She had messy brown hair tied loosely with a ribbon and eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Her clothes were simple, a little dusty from the walk, but she carried herself with an energy that made the old park seem alive again. I think it's possible," Liam said, smiling nervously. "I'm just trying to figure out how." "I'm Myra," she said, extending her hand. Liam shook it, noticing the warmth in her touch. "I'm Liam," he replied. Myra's gaze shifted to the Ferris wheel. "I used to come here when I was little," she said softly. "I loved this place. It felt like magic back then." Liam looked at her, surprised by the shared excitement. "It still feels magical," he said. "Even like this, forgotten and old." For a few moments, they stood in silence, watching the rusty ride sway gently in the wind. Then Myra stepped closer to the Ferris wheel and traced a finger along one of the metal beams. "It's amazing how strong it still is," she said. "Even after all these years." Liam nodded. "That's why I want to try fixing it. I think it deserves another chance." Myra smiled, and there was a spark in her eyes that Liam couldn't ignore. "Maybe I can help," she said. "I like old places, and I like bringing them back to life." From that moment, an unspoken agreement formed. They began walking around the park together, exploring each ride and imagining what it must have been like when it was full of laughter and joy. They laughed at their guesses, making up stories about families who might have visited, and the games children played long ago. Each corner of the park seemed to reveal a new story, and with every step, Liam felt a strange warmth in his chest, something he couldn't quite name. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the Ferris wheel. Liam and Myra stopped at its base and sat on a low wall nearby, watching as the last light flickered through the rusted metal. "It's beautiful," Myra whispered. "Even like this." Liam glanced at her, noticing how the sunlight highlighted her face, and felt a flutter of something new, something gentle but exciting. "Yeah," he agreed. "And I think it can be beautiful again, maybe even more than before." Myra smiled, and Liam felt a strange sense of hope. Here, in this forgotten place, they had found not just a project, but a connection, a shared excitement for something bigger than themselves. And as the wind rustled through the grass and the Ferris wheel creaked softly, both of them felt that magic wasn't gone after all. It was just waiting to be brought back to life. The next day, Liam found himself walking toward the abandoned park again, even though the sun was still high in the sky. He felt a strange excitement. He couldn't stop thinking about Myra and their shared discovery the day before. When he arrived, he saw her already there, crouched beside the Ferris wheel, examining the rusted bolts and peeling paint. "Hey!" Liam called, smiling as he approached. Myra looked up and waved. "I didn't think you'd come so soon," she said, brushing dirt off her hands. "I couldn't wait to see what we could do together." Liam laughed softly. "I'm already thinking of ways to fix it. I've even drawn some sketches." He pulled out his notebook and showed her his careful diagrams of the Ferris wheel, marking where gears could be reinforced and how new parts could fit in. Myra studied the sketches, her eyes lighting up. "These are amazing," she said. "I never thought about how something like this actually works." "You're really clever, Liam." He felt his cheeks warm at her compliment. "Thanks. I like figuring out how things move. But I think the magic comes from your ideas too. You see the story behind it?" They spent hours walking around the park, inspecting each ride, and laughing at their guesses about the people who had visited long ago. Myra would make up imaginative stories like the carousel horses dancing at night when no one was watching, and Liam would nod thoughtfully, imagining how the rides could spin again. The more time they spent together, the more Liam noticed little things about her: the way her eyes brightened when she laughed, the soft determination in her voice, and the way she always touched a corner of the ride gently, as if thanking it for surviving all these years. When the shadows grew long, Myra spotted a small platform next to the Ferris wheel. "I want to check something," she said, climbing up carefully. "We need to see how sturdy it is before we can start fixing it." Liam's heart jumped. "Be careful," he said, his voice tight with worry. "I will," Myra said with a grin. "I'm not scared of a little height." From where he stood, Liam watched her inspect the bolts and chains. The Ferris wheel creaked softly, but Myra seemed confident, moving with balance and grace. He felt a strange flutter in his chest, not fear, but something warmer, something that made him realize he enjoyed seeing her smile and move so freely. When Myra climbed down, they both laughed, brushing off dirt and sweat from the day. Liam handed her a bottle of water, and their fingers brushed. The moment was brief, but it sent a shiver up Liam's spine. Myra caught his gaze and smiled, and he realized he hadn't felt this way about anyone before. As the sky darkened, they sat on a nearby bench, looking at the Ferris wheel in the golden light. "It's amazing to think that something so old can still have so much strength," Liam said quietly. Myra nodded. "I know. It's like it's waiting for someone to believe in it again, like it's waiting for us." The two sat in companionable silence, listening to the soft creak of the Ferris wheel in the wind. Liam thought about how life sometimes gave unexpected gifts, like a forgotten park and a rusted ride that could become beautiful again. But he also thought about Myra, and the way her presence made the place feel alive. "Do you think we can really fix it?" Myra asked, breaking the silence. "I think so," Liam replied. "But only if we work together. I know the gears and mechanics, but you see the heart of it? And without that, it wouldn't be the same." Myra smiled softly, looking at him with a mixture of admiration and warmth. "Then let's do it together," she said. As they walked back home that evening, Liam realized something he hadn't expected. It wasn't just the Ferris wheel that felt exciting, it was the feeling of being with Myra, sharing ideas, laughing, and imagining a world where forgotten things could shine again. And he felt a quiet hope that this was just the beginning, not only of the Ferris wheel's story but of theirs as well. The next days promised long hours of work, laughter, and discovery, and Liam couldn't wait to see what adventures awaited. Every time he thought of Myra, he felt a little lighter, a little braver, and strangely certain that the Ferris wheel and something in his heart was going to turn again. Days passed, and Liam and Myra began spending nearly every evening at the abandoned park. The Ferris wheel had become their secret project, a place where time seemed to slow and the world beyond the park didn't matter. They worked together with careful focus, gathering old metal pieces and discarded wood to repair the structure. Liam would show Myra how gears worked and how small adjustments could make a big difference, while Myra contributed ideas about the design, colors, and decorations that could make the Ferris wheel feel alive again. One evening, as the sky turned a soft shade of lavender, Myra picked up a long rusted bolt and examined it. "I think this can be cleaned and reused," she said thoughtfully. Liam nodded, impressed. "Good eye. That will save us some effort. You're learning fast." Myra smiled. "I like learning from you. And I like seeing how things work. It's fun." Liam felt a warmth spread through his chest at her words. He noticed how her eyes shone with curiosity and excitement. Each day spent together made him feel more alive, more inspired. It wasn't just the work on the Ferris wheel, it was the way Myra laughed at his silly jokes, how she encouraged him when a part didn't fit, and how she noticed even the smallest details he sometimes overlooked. After hours of work, they would sit on the low wall near the Ferris wheel, drinking lemonade and watching the sun slowly set behind the town. Sometimes, Liam's hand would accidentally brush against Myra's as they passed tools back and forth. Each time, a spark ran through him, and he felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. Myra seemed to notice too, because she would smile softly, and for a moment, neither of them spoke, enjoying the quiet closeness. One evening, Liam decided to test a small section of the Ferris wheel. "I think this part can turn if we adjust the gears," he said, his fingers carefully moving them into place. Myra crouched beside him, holding a flashlight to help him see. "Be careful," she said, her voice gentle but filled with concern. "I will," Liam replied. As the gear turned smoothly for the first time, he grinned. "It works. Look, Myra." She laughed, clapping her hands. "I knew we could do it." "You're amazing, Liam." He felt his heart beat faster. "No, you're amazing. You noticed the problem I didn't even see." Their laughter faded into a comfortable silence, and for a few moments, Liam found himself just watching Myra. She had a thoughtful expression, her hair catching the light of the fading sun, and he realized he had never met anyone quite like her. She wasn't just clever or kind, she made him feel like he could do anything, like the Ferris wheel could rise again, and so could he. As night fell, they reluctantly packed their tools. "Tomorrow, we should start cleaning the seats," Myra suggested. "They're rusty, but I think with some work, they could shine again." "I'll bring brushes and paint," Liam said, smiling. "And maybe we can add little decorations, like lights. Imagine it glowing at night." Myra's eyes lit up. "Yes. That would be magical. People would come just to see it." They walked home together, talking about colors and ideas, each step feeling lighter than usual. Liam felt a quiet happiness, a sense that something important was growing between them. He didn't know exactly when it started, whether it was during the laughter, the shared stories, or the moments when their hands brushed, but he knew he looked forward to every evening with Myra more than anything else. That night, as he lay in bed, he thought about the Ferris wheel turning slowly under the moonlight, about Myra's smile, and about the gentle way she had said his name earlier that day. A strange excitement filled him, a feeling that this project and this connection was more than just fixing old metal. It was about building something new, something beautiful, something alive. The Ferris wheel had begun to move again, piece by piece, and so had something inside Liam's heart. It was quiet, subtle, but undeniable, a desire to share not just work and ideas, but dreams, laughter, and moments with Myra. And as he closed his eyes, he imagined the first time they would ride it together, suspended above the world, feeling the wind and seeing the town below, knowing that they had created something remarkable, together. Weeks of careful work had passed, and the Ferris wheel was finally ready for its first turn. Liam and Myra had spent countless evenings sanding, painting, and repairing every seat and gear. The sun was setting in soft hues of gold and pink, casting a warm glow over the park. Both of them stood in front of the Ferris wheel, hearts beating fast with anticipation. "I can't believe it's actually ready," Myra whispered, her eyes wide as she looked at the slowly moving ride. "It's beautiful." Liam smiled, brushing a hand through his hair. "We did it together. Every bolt, every brush stroke, every idea, it's ours." Myra's smile softened into a quiet expression of happiness. "I never thought something so old could feel so alive again. And I never thought I'd feel this excited." He looked at her, noticing the way the light caught her eyes and made them shimmer. His chest felt warm, and a strange nervous energy passed through him. "Me neither," he said softly. "It's more than I imagined, kind of like this moment." Slowly, they climbed into the first seats. Liam's fingers trembled slightly as he held the safety bar in place. Myra reached over and gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. "We can do this," she said with a gentle smile. The Ferris wheel began to move, creaking slightly at first but then turning smoothly as the repaired gears worked perfectly. Myra's laughter rang through the air, bright and clear. "It's amazing," she called out, leaning back in her seat and letting the wind brush her hair. Liam couldn't help but grin, watching her with a mixture of pride and admiration. "Hold on tight," he said, laughing as the Ferris wheel rose higher, lifting them above the town. Below, the streets looked small, and the familiar houses and trees seemed to shine in the golden light. Myra leaned back and closed her eyes, breathing deeply. "It feels like flying," she whispered. Liam watched her, feeling a quiet awe. "It really does," he agreed. But his eyes stayed on Myra, noticing the joy in her expression and the way her hair fluttered in the wind. Something stirred inside him, a realization that this moment wasn't just about the Ferris wheel, but about the bond they had formed, about the laughter, the effort, and the quiet closeness that had grown between them. They talked quietly as the wheel turned, sharing dreams and wishes they had never spoken aloud before. Myra told Liam about her love for old places, for hidden stories, and for making forgotten things shine again. Liam spoke about his inventions, his curiosity, and the joy of creating something that could inspire others. Each word they shared made them feel closer, each story weaving a deeper connection. As the Ferris wheel reached the highest point, the town spread out below them like a small, peaceful world. The sun's last rays sparkled on the rooftops, and for a moment, everything felt still, magical, and infinite. Myra looked at Liam, her eyes reflecting both the sky and her feelings. "I'm glad we did this together," she said softly. Liam felt his heart swell. "Me too," he said, his voice quiet but steady. "I couldn't imagine doing this with anyone else." For a few seconds, they simply looked at each other, the world below forgotten. Liam realized that his feelings for Myra were stronger than he had expected, something warm and steady, like the Ferris wheel itself. Myra's hand found his, and they held it tightly, both of them smiling quietly. As the ride slowed and they returned to the ground, Liam and Myra stepped off, still holding hands. Their laughter returned, light and easy, but the quiet connection between them lingered, stronger than ever. They knew this was more than just a first ride, it was the beginning of something meaningful, a shared adventure that went beyond repairing a forgotten Ferris wheel. That evening, as they packed their tools and walked home under the glowing sky, Liam felt a quiet hope for the future. He realized that the Ferris wheel had brought them together, but what they were building now was even more important: their friendship, trust, and a gentle, growing affection. And as the lights of the town appeared in the distance, he knew that many more rides, laughs, and shared dreams awaited them in the days to come. The Ferris wheel had turned for the first time in years, and with it, something in their hearts had begun to turn as well, slowly, beautifully, and full of promise. Days after their first ride, the Ferris wheel had become more than a project for Liam and Myra. It had become a place where they shared thoughts, dreams, and quiet moments that neither had experienced before. One cloudy evening, rain began to fall softly, tapping on the leaves and creating a gentle rhythm on the rusted metal of the Ferris wheel. "I didn't think we'd get rain tonight," Liam said, looking up at the gray sky. Myra laughed softly. "It's okay. I don't mind. It makes the park feel alive again, doesn't it?" They ran under the Ferris wheel, taking shelter beneath one of the platforms. Water dripped from the edges, and the air smelled fresh with the scent of wet grass and earth. Liam shivered slightly, and Myra noticed. Without thinking, she took off her scarf and wrapped it gently around his neck. "Here," she said. "You'll catch a cold." Liam felt warmth not just from the scarf, but from the simple care in her gesture. "Thank you," he said softly, looking at her with a quiet appreciation. There was something in that moment, a feeling that went beyond friendship, though neither said it aloud. They sat on the platform, listening to the rain patter around them. Myra spoke first, her voice low and reflective. "I've never felt like this before, not with anyone. Being here, with you, it feels right. Like we're meant to be part of something bigger than ourselves." Liam's heart thumped in his chest. He wanted to tell her the same, but the words felt heavy, almost too precious to say. Instead, he took a deep breath and nodded. "I feel the same way," he admitted quietly. "I didn't expect to feel this connected, but I do. With you, everything feels more real." Myra's eyes softened, and she smiled, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. "I'm glad. I was worried it was just me." "Never," Liam said firmly. "It's not just you. I've felt it too, from the first day we came here together. You make everything feel alive, even the old, broken things." They sat in silence for a while, simply enjoying each other's presence. The rain had slowed to a soft drizzle, and the clouds were beginning to clear, letting a few stars peek through. Liam glanced at Myra, noticing the way her eyes reflected the dim light, and felt a gentle courage rise in him. He reached for her hand, and she didn't pull away. "Myra," he said, his voice quiet but steady, "I think I want to share more than just this project with you. I want to share moments, ideas, and even dreams. I like you." More than just a friend. Myra's lips curved into a soft, heartfelt smile. I like you too, Liam. I've felt it for a while, but I didn't know if you did. A sense of relief and joy passed between them, a warm, quiet happiness that felt like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Without needing words, they leaned closer and shared a gentle, heartfelt embrace. The Ferris wheel loomed above them, silent and steady, as if it had been waiting for this moment too. I never imagined that fixing an old ride could bring so much joy, Myra whispered, resting her head on his shoulder. Me neither, Liam admitted, holding her close. It's more than just the Ferris wheel. It's us. They stayed there for a while, letting the gentle night air wrap around them, feeling the simple comfort of being together. The connection between them had shifted from curiosity and friendship to trust and affection. Every laugh, every shared story, and every small act of care had built a bond stronger than either had anticipated. As the rain stopped and the stars grew brighter, Liam and Myra finally stood, brushing off damp clothing. They looked up at the Ferris wheel, now gleaming softly under the moonlight, and felt a quiet pride. What had once been rusted and forgotten was now not only repaired but alive with their memories, their laughter, and their growing love. Walking home that night, hand in hand, neither spoke much, but both felt the same deep certainty. The Ferris wheel had brought them together, but their hearts had built something stronger, an unspoken promise of care, trust, and shared dreams. And in the quiet of that evening, under the stars and the gentle glow of a restored ride, Liam and Myra knew this was only the beginning of many adventures they would face together. The town council had announced plans to clear the abandoned amusement park to build a new shopping center. When Liam and Myra heard the news, their hearts sank. The Ferris wheel, their shared creation, was in danger of being lost again. They knew they had to act quickly. We can't let them destroy it, Myra said, determination shining in her eyes. This park, it's more than metal and wood. It's memories, stories, and hope. And we've given it a new life. Liam nodded, gripping her hand. You're right. We can't do it alone, but if we show the town what it means, maybe we can save it. The next morning, they went door to door, speaking to neighbors and friends, explaining how the Ferris wheel and the park could bring joy to everyone. They shared pictures of the restored rides, sketches, and even plans for weekend events where families could come and enjoy the park safely. Some people were skeptical, but many were inspired. Slowly, a small group of volunteers joined Liam and Myra, eager to help save the Ferris wheel. Days were filled with energy, cooperation, and laughter. Liam showed volunteers how to carefully clean and repair the rides, while Myra organized decorations and fun activities for the children who came to see the park together. They painted benches, planted flowers, and even strung small lanterns along the pathways. The park was transforming before their eyes, not just repaired, but vibrant, full of life and possibility. Working side by side, Liam and Myra grew closer than ever. Their hands often brushed while passing tools, and their smiles lingered a little longer than usual. Liam noticed how Myra's determination inspired everyone around her, and he admired her courage. Myra saw how patient and creative Liam was, guiding volunteers gently and solving problems with careful thought. They began to understand each other in ways words couldn't express. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Liam climbed to the Ferris wheel's platform to check the safety mechanisms, while Myra arranged lanterns on the seats. "Be careful up there," she called, worry in her voice. "I will," Liam replied with a grin. "Don't worry, I've got this." As he worked, he realized how much he relied on Myra's presence. She wasn't just helping with the project, she made him feel calm, confident, and inspired. When he finished, he climbed down, and they stood side by side, watching the Ferris wheel glow softly in the evening light. "It looks amazing," Myra said, her eyes reflecting the lanterns. "We did it, together." "Yes," Liam agreed, smiling at her. "And it's more than just the Ferris wheel. It's the people, the laughter, the memories we're creating." Over the next week, their efforts caught the attention of the town council. Curious and impressed by the volunteers' work, the council agreed to visit the park. Liam and Myra led them through, explaining the repairs, the history, and the potential for community events. They showed the council the Ferris wheel, now shining under the evening sky, and shared stories of their first ride and the joy it had brought. The council members exchanged glances, clearly moved. "It's remarkable what you've done here," one said. "This park has value beyond its appearance. It's a place for families, memories, and inspiration." When the council officially decided to preserve the park and allow community events, cheers erupted among the volunteers. Myra threw her arms around Liam, laughing with joy. "We did it. We really did it." Liam hugged her back, feeling a warmth that went beyond the happiness of saving the park. "No," he said softly, smiling down at her. "We did it together. And I couldn't have done it without you." Myra's cheeks turned pink, and she looked up at him, eyes shining. "I feel the same. You've taught me so much, and you make me feel braver than I ever imagined." For a moment, they simply stood there, holding hands and looking at the Ferris wheel. The ride that had once been rusted and forgotten now gleamed with lantern light, a symbol not just of their hard work, but of their growing connection. The park was alive again, and so was something in their hearts. That night, as the volunteers celebrated with soft music and laughter, Liam and Myra sneaked away to the Ferris wheel, just the two of them. They sat on a bench beneath it, watching the stars appear one by one in the clear sky. "I'm proud of what we've done," Liam said softly. Myra leaned her head on his shoulder. "Me too. And I'm proud of us, whatever this is that we have together." Liam smiled, feeling a quiet happiness settle in his chest. The Ferris wheel had brought them together, had challenged them, and had shown them the power of teamwork, care, and belief in something bigger than themselves. And as they sat beneath the softly glowing ride, they knew that whatever came next, they would face it together, hand in hand, hearts aligned, and full of hope. The park was alive again. Children's laughter rang through the air, families strolled along the paths, and the Ferris wheel, once rusted and forgotten, turned slowly under the warm glow of lanterns. Liam and Myra stood side by side, watching the joy their hard work had brought to the town. It was more than they had imagined, more than just a repaired ride. It was a place of memories, hope, and happiness. "I can't believe how full it is," Myra said, her eyes shining. "It feels like the park has a heartbeat now." Liam nodded, feeling a swell of pride and warmth. "We did this together," he said. "Every laugh, every idea, every little repair, it's ours." Myra turned to him, smiling softly. "And it's more than that, Liam. You made me believe in possibilities, not just for the park, but for life." He felt a quiet joy at her words. "You've done the same for me," he said. "I've learned that some things, people, places, dreams are worth protecting and cherishing. You've taught me that." As the evening deepened, Liam suggested, "Do you want to take a ride? Just the two of us?" Myra's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I'd love to." They climbed into one of the freshly painted seats, the Ferris wheel creaking softly as it began to turn. The town below looked small, peaceful, and glowing in the golden light of the setting sun. The wind brushed against their faces, carrying the sounds of laughter and music from the park below. "This is amazing," Myra whispered, leaning back and letting herself enjoy the ride. Liam watched her, feeling a quiet awe. She looked radiant, her hair catching the last rays of sunlight, her eyes filled with joy and trust. "It really is," he said, glancing at her. "But, seeing you happy like this, it's even better." Myra turned to him, their faces close in the gentle evening light. "Liam, I think this park brought us together for a reason. Not just to fix it, but to find each other." He reached for her hand, holding it tightly. "I feel the same. I never imagined that an old Ferris wheel could lead to something so important, something real." The Ferris wheel climbed higher, giving them a view of the town and the surrounding fields. The lanterns on the seats glowed warmly, and the world seemed peaceful, suspended in a perfect moment. Liam and Myra sat quietly, enjoying the feeling of being together, feeling the strength of the bond they had built through laughter, hard work, and shared dreams. As the ride slowly turned back toward the ground, Liam leaned closer. "Myra," he said softly, "I want to keep building, not just the park, but a life full of moments like this. With you." Myra's eyes softened, and she squeezed his hand. "I want that too," she whispered. "I want to share adventures, laughter, and quiet evenings, everything, with you." When they stepped off the Ferris wheel, the world seemed brighter than ever. The park was filled with families enjoying the rides, and volunteers who had helped them now laughed together, proud of what they had accomplished. Liam and Myra walked hand in hand along the paths they had repaired, sharing quiet smiles and words only they could hear. The Ferris wheel, standing tall and glowing, seemed to watch over them, a symbol not just of restoration, but of connection, hope, and love. Every time it turned, it reminded them of the journey they had shared, from curiosity and friendship to trust, admiration, and a love that was gentle, strong, and enduring. Later that night, as the park emptied and the lanterns flickered softly, Liam and Myra sat on the bench beneath the Ferris wheel. The stars were bright, and the world felt calm and infinite. Myra leaned her head on Liam's shoulder. "I'm glad we never gave up," she said quietly. "Neither am I," he replied, wrapping his arm around her. "The Ferris wheel brought us together, but it's us who made it real." They sat in silence, feeling the soft creak of the Ferris wheel above and the cool night air around them. Their hearts were full not just with love for each other, but with pride, hope, and the quiet knowledge that they had created something lasting, meaningful, and beautiful. The Ferris wheel turned slowly, gently, carrying laughter, dreams, and memories. And as Liam and Myra held hands beneath it, they knew this was only the beginning. Their story, like the ride, would continue to rise, fall, and turn, always together, always moving forward, always full of light. And so, the Ferris wheel stood not only as a monument to a forgotten past brought back to life, but as a symbol of a love that had grown quietly, steadily, and beautifully, an enduring reminder that even the rusted and forgotten can shine again when nurtured with care, hope, and heart.